Hi everyone, in today's video I'm gonna be showing you guys how I narrow down the item search when I'm buying items in Merchant Guild. So first off, you have level range. This is, I don't really use this. You can use this if you are leveling, so you can narrow down like level 1, from level 1 to level 45, and you can buy items from that range. But if you're buying endgame items, it's actually much easier for you to choose the specific items that you need. I mean the specific implicits that you need. So for example, you need a increased cast speed and spell damage, you can choose Tyrant Regular. Uh, if you want something that gives you armor and mana span gain as well, you can choose Valkyr's Regalia. So Unique actually take one of these implicits. So for example, Unstable Core takes the implicit of Arcane Regalia. It actually takes the highest one, so it's actually really good. Some Unique take one of the lowest implicits that is actually not too good. So Unstable Core takes one of the best implicits from the category. So as you can see, the high at the top of the list you have the lower tier ones. The bottom of the list you have the higher tier ones. So usually you want to choose the one at the bottom. I mean, there are sometimes where some implicits that you want, like increased cast speed or quicker strike multiplier, freeze rate multiplier, so you might choose those over the ones at the bottom. So it's totally up to you. So gold cost, I don't really use this because it kind of would narrow down the items, and sometimes you might not be able to locate the item. You might miss some really good items, so I don't really use this. But if you want to use this, you can limit it to like 5 million, and you can put minimum to 50,000. Usually the items that are less than 50,000 are pretty much useless. So rarity, if you want a specific exotic item, usually I just use this to narrow down to exotic items, so you can have a specific item to be exotic, and so you can slam on it. But usually if you choose exotic and you usually take all of them, so you can slam to a unique item to make a legendary item. But there are some times where you use exotic item. For example, I use an exotic amulet, so you still want to look at the implicits. So class is important in a way. Sometimes it's not important, sometimes it's important. So if you look at my items, my Bone Claimer helmet does not have a class, but my body armor has a class associated with it. So you wouldn't be able to slam a rogue body armor into a mage body armor. So sometimes you might need to narrow down the class to mage or whatever. But this wouldn't be the case, but if you go to Relic, there are some relics that are actually open to all class that would just say Relic instead of Sentinel, Rogue, or Mage Relic. So you can actually slam this into your Mage Relic. So for example, I mean Twisted Heart is actually a free-for-all relic, but if you have a mage relic, you actually would be able to slam a neutral relic into it. However, a neutral relic in a neutral relic, you wouldn't be able to get class-specific affixes like plus levels to Frostclaw. So there's a advantage and disadvantage there. So you might be able to. So for example, if you want to slam Frostclaw level to Frostclaw to this relic, you wouldn't be able to because it's a free for all relic. I mean, it's not a mage relic. So next we go to Forging Potential. Sometimes I use this, sometimes I do not. Sometimes it might narrow down the search. I usually do not really use this. But if you want to use this, you would want kind of a 30 forging potential minimum, and up to there's no reason to use the maximum here. However, the problem with using this to narrow down the items is that sometimes you might miss the items that are already crafted, that are pre-crafted, and that really suit your build. So I personally do not use it as much. Legendary potential, usually if you want to buy, let's say you want to buy legendary potential, if you want to buy a specific unique and you want it, let's say unstable core, you want it to only show 2 LP and above, you would narrow it down like that. And I mean, you could also choose maximum, but there's really no reason to choose maximum. Reverse wheel, for example, swelling of the erase. If you want, usually I also do not use the reverse wheel minimum and maximum, because sometimes you might be able to get the ones that are really good, legendary ones. But also, like, if you want to gamble with reverse wheel and you want to gamble with swelling of the erase, you would want this number to be 20, and you can choose it like that. And you can even increase it to 21, and it's going to be more expensive like that. So that is one way of using reverse view. I did that before, but I do realize that it's really hard to gamble with swelling of the erase, so I'm not really using this anymore. So now to affixes. So let's say I want intelligence, and I want intelligence, and I want T7 intelligence. Usually, let's uncheck swelling of the erase. So T7 intelligence, you don't really have to check exalted, because only exalted item would have T7 intelligence. So let's go to T7 intelligence, and now let's also talk briefly about newest first. Go low to high, go high to low. So you would use all three of this depending on your situation. Newest first tend to show you items that are the newest, and this is actually beneficial in a way. Usually, the items that are newest are the ones that are the most lucrative in terms of like value, because items that are recently put in the market might be undervalued, and you might be able to snatch something that is really good when you have newest first as a category. Low to high is also is actually pretty good as well. You would want to look at both newest first and go low to high as well. Reason is because you would be able to search the items from the lowest price, and I mean, usually these items are not too good, so you would be scrolling and you would go to the second page, third page, fourth, fifth page, or you can directly skip to the fifth page, because usually the cheap items would be snatched up by now. I mean, if it's not snatched up, it's probably not good. The go high to low is actually kind of you don't really use this unless you are looking for a specific specific item. It's actually pretty useless, but it does. You would have to kind of go to page 9 or page 10, but it's still pretty useless. You would not really use this at all. So now you can actually go to dual affix intelligence, and let's say if you want cast speed, usually you wouldn't be able to get a T7 for both. Let's say you want T6 for both, so you can narrow it down to an item. But I would highly recommend not using 2 T6, because a T7 is actually better than 2 T6. So what I mean by that is from T5, the range from T5 to T6, it will jump a little, but the jump from T6 to T7 is actually higher from the jump from T5 to T6. So there's really no reason for you to take a double T6 exotic item. You can choose T7 and a T6, and that would be good. But usually you would not be able to find that. But usually, like in this case, if you search for two affixes and with T6 minimum tiers, there might be a time where you might be able to find gloves that has T7 stat and T6 stat on both affixes that you need. Then you would want to buy that. So this, you can see that it's actually 2 T6, so you would not want to buy that. And let's say if you want to also have a chance to shred armor, it's one of the affix that does not show up in the bar. Let's say you want added armor, you want flat armor, and you want all three of these stats in here. You would want you can select up to 3, and it will show you all 3. But and let's say you put Rarity exalted, you will be able to get all 3 of these stats, but you would not be able to narrow down the T7 intelligence if you need. What I wish that they would implement in the future is to have a single affix as T7 and then like individual affix with minimum tier rather than selecting 3 and then having a minimum tier like this. Alright, so let's go back to finding really good intelligence, really good gloves with T7 intelligence. So there are times where you want open prefix. So let's say you want to put increased cast speed, right? Usually it's really hard to find increased cast speed. So if you want to narrow down so you can put increased cast speed yourself, you can just put open prefix count as 1. So now you would be able to find items that have an open prefix where you can just put whatever you want. Same goes with suffix. You can put one suffix minimum. So notice that this looks like we have a prefix in here, but it's actually not a prefix. It's actually a seal affix. So you actually still have 2 slots when you look at items like this. So when the prefix is actually below the suffix, it is usually, I mean, it is sealed. It means that it's a seal affix. So you don't really need to use the maximum. I haven't really used the maximum before, so I just use the minimum. Right, with that being said, let's go to finding a good gloves for our build. So what we want is intelligence, T7 intelligence, T5 cast speed, and T5 chance to shred armor on hit. So there are 3 things that you want to look at. So this is obviously bad. I mean, theoretically you could use Glyph of Chaos and try to gamble it with 500,000. You can actually still do that, and then there's an open fourth affix where you can put chance to shed armor on hit, or you can buy this item and use a rune of removal and hope that it takes out dexterity. You can do it that way. But then again, it only has 34 forging potential, and your intelligence is at 14, so it's actually not good because you would also need to use Rune of Refinement so that you get to 16. So let's go back to newest first. Alright, let's check Exalted. So notice that these are really expensive, so it's not worth it, but if you go down the list, you will be able to find something that that would make sense. So if you look at this, this is actually not bad. 16 intelligence, so you don't really have to use Rune of Refinement for this. and you can use you can put increased cast speed, and you can still actually use Glyph of Despair to seal one of these affixes, but or you can use Rune of Remover. And for 2 million is actually a pretty good price to do that. This is bad because we have intelligence and increased cast speed. So this is actually a really good item to buy. I mean, there's a risk, but it's actually 2 million, so you just buy this and play around with it. So this has increased cast speed and intelligence and armor. This is actually a perfect item. It's actually not too perfect because it has only 32 forging potential. And you would still need to use Rune of Refinement for this, so this kind of ties with the other item because this already has 16 intelligence. So this has intelligence and cast speed, but we wouldn't be able to put chance to shred armor over here. I mean, with just 5 forging potential. So this is actually not bad. With 44 forging potential, you have 15 intelligence and 25% chance to shred armor on hit. You can always Glyph of Chaos, increase health regeneration, and hope for a better one, and then use Glyph of Hope to upgrade it to level 5. And you would also need to use a Rune of Refinement, and then also use 5 cast speed scrolls. So it's actually it's actually a lot of things that you need to put in, but so that's why you would really want to have a 16 intelligence kind of at the highest range to begin with, rather than a 15. So something like 16 intelligence, but the other affixes does not make sense, so you wouldn't want that. So items like this that has only one affix and just 15 intelligence is actually really bad. Reason for that is because you would run out of forging potential. Even if you were to put 3 affixes that you need, you would run out of forging potential. And I mean, you could buy it if it's 2 million, but if it's 80 million, it's not worth it. So, like I say, there will always be a trade-off. See, items like this is actually not too bad because it has 16 intelligence, so you wouldn't have to waste Rune of Refinement on it. So if let's say if an item does not have 16 intelligence, what you want to look at is something like this is perfect because it already has the 3 stats that we need: intelligence, cast speed, and chance to shred armor on hit. And you would use Rune of Refinement with Gift of Hope to try roll as high as possible, 16 intelligence, but it's 500 million, you wouldn't want to buy it. But if it's cheaper, you can buy it. See, items like this is actually pretty terrible. I don't know why it's selling for 188 million. If you look at it's probably selling for that because of the implicits. It has a pretty good implicit. So items like this is actually not too bad as well if you need dodge rating, and then you have intelligence and dodge rating, so you would seal the strength, and then you would use cast speed scroll and chance to shred armor scroll, and you would actually try to upgrade it to level 4, and then you would use Rune of Refinement, and then if your cast speed is actually roll pretty high, you can use Glyph of Order so that you can get the maximum of your cast speed and your chance to shred armor on hit. I'll probably describe that in another video. But with that being said, I think I've covered kind of the basics of how I look for items in Merchant Guild. There's always a case by case basis. You have to look at the price, you have to look at the affixes, you have to look at how good the affixes roll. So all three combined together is how you select an item.